Hello everyone! Remember a few months ago, I guess it was now, when I showed you my personal collection of picture books with, I think it was 5 favorites, and I said that there were other picture books in the house, I just couldn't get to them, they were stuffed in a closet somewhere, and I hoped that someday I would see them again, I just didn't know when, and that when I did find them, I would show them to you. Do you remember that? Well, I got to the closet, and so today, you're going to get to see the rest of the picture books. It still might not be all of the picture books that we have in the house, but it's a lot. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Here's box number 1. I haven't really looked into any of these boxes. I didn't do any peeking. First book in the box is The Day Buddy Ran Away. I remember this book. It's not that this book inspired me to run away. I got that idea on my own. There was no just cause. It was just, I'm upset with people, so I'm gonna run away. And the way that I was gonna do it was kind of inspired by how this character did it. He takes a little suitcase, and he packs his favorite toys in there, and he makes himself a sandwich. I thought, so that's how you run away. You pack your favorite toy in a tiny little lunchbox and a sandwich, and you go. And that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna go out to the backyard, and it was gonna be, you know, a statement. I wasn't going to stay away forever. I was just going to make my absence felt. I don't know. I don't really know what I was thinking. I got so distracted with organizing the toys or trying to make the toys fit that by the time I was done with that, I had forgotten or decided not to run away after all. So it all came to nothing. It was a very sad book. It's got an emotional ending. So, yeah. I promise there won't be a huge long story with every single book in the box, but there's gonna be some stories, like with this Louis Braille book. This is a book that I read. It's a biography of Louis Braille, who invented the Braille alphabet so that the blind could read, and this is the book that I chose to read for a 3rd grade biography project where we had to get up and do an oral report pretending to be the person, the subject of the biography that we had read. So, 3rd grade me, I got up and pretended to be Louis Braille, complete with a little mini sport coat and a cravat. The next book is Say Hello, Vanessa. There are certain books that we read so much, and all of us in the family were familiar with them, and certain phrases from the book became common household phrases. One of them is Say Hello, Vanessa, which is about this really shy mouse who, when someone speaks to her, she doesn't speak up. She's just like, hello. And people are like, say hello, Vanessa. I can't hear you. What did you say? Now, this was a very relatable book for me as a kid because this was a constant problem that I had. When people, adults, or other kids would say hi to me, I was like, hi. And then if somebody would ask, like, oh, how's school going? You know, what's your favorite subject? I'd be like, it's good. I like reading. I know that's probably shocking to a lot of you who only know me through YouTube, but in real life, I am much more of an introvert, at least around people that I don't know. So that is Say Hello, Vanessa, a family classic. Next we have If You Give a Moose a Muffin, which is a classic that should be in every family's picture book collection. I know that some people are partial to If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. I don't know which one came first, but the one that we had was If You Give a Moose a Muffin. And so that was the one that I preferred. Oh, remember when I showed you all those corduroy books that I had in my collection, and I said, I know that we have the original corduroy book somewhere around here? Well, here it is, Corduroy. This was not the first corduroy book that I read. The first one I read was A Pocket for Corduroy. It's bound to be in here somewhere. This book is called Rabbit and Skunk and Spooks. I know I read it. Oh, I can tell that I read it because I scribbled my name all over the place. It's a spooky book. It's really geared toward Halloween. And it's got some really fun, cutesy illustrations, and I don't remember the story at all, but it's fun. Next we have a book called My Snuggly Bunny. There's going to be a lot of bunny books in here, I'm sure, because there were a few things that we had a lot of. Books about bears, books about bunnies, Here we have The Snow Baby. This is a book about a kitten? Yeah. Aw, it's cute. That's another thing. Kittens, cats. Here's a little golden book, My Little Book of Words. This book has some really nice illustrations. Very detailed and colorful. It's a really nice book to just look at. Here we have two of the Meg Macintosh books. These are not picture books. They have illustrations, but they're fairly lengthy and have a lot of words. Meg Macintosh was a girl detective created by Lucinda Landon. There's a whole bunch of these books, and I guess you're supposed... It says a solve it yourself mystery. We have The Mystery at the Medieval Castle, which I guess is the first one, and The Case of the Curious Whale Watch, which is the second one. Here's a book called Teddy. I don't remember much about this. It's got some cute illustrations. I mean, that's gonna be par for the course with most of these books. My mom picked most of the books in our collection, and my mom has excellent taste. She likes cute, quality illustrations, little animals and things. Here's a ratty book of The Night Before Christmas. I'm assuming it's the entire poem. Yep, it is. And I'd say this is pretty well loved because it's falling apart. Sounds, I remember. This doesn't even look familiar to me. What is this? That's an ugly rabbit. Now, I just said that these books are all going to have cute pictures. I take it back. That is not... I don't know. Maybe it's a style some people like. I'm not into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door. People on the bus go up and down. That's not how you're supposed to sing the song. Okay, I get it. So this book is teaching children traditional songs like The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round, and Where Oh Where Has My Little Dog Gone? Little Peter Rabbit Had a Flea Upon His Ear. Rain, Rain, Go Away. Hello, Peg, this is Greg. Hello, Greg, can you come over to play? Wait a minute, I'll ask my mother. Yes, Greg, I can come over. I'll meet you at the corner in a minute. Catchy. Count in the Dark with Glowworm. Did you guys have glowworms? I had a little, like, it was a tree, and the tree had an elevator, and the glowbugs could glowworm? Glowbug? What did you call them? Glowworms? You put them in the treehouse thing, and then there was a swing outside that played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and there was little furniture, like a plastic leaf, there was a seesaw, and it was really fun. My brother's ex-girlfriend gave it to me, along with a whole bunch of glowworms. They were these little plastic toys, and you hold them up to the light to charge them, and then they glow in the dark, and they had holes in the bottom so that you could stick them onto the little, well, in our case, we had this house thing, and so you could stick them on there and they would keep glowing. We liked glow-in-the-dark stuff, as you can tell by the fact that here's another glow-in-the-dark book. This is the Muppet Babies Nightlight book. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, the rest of the books in this box are Sweet Pickles books. Each book featured a different animal character within this community. Each of these characters had a certain character flaw. And some of them were funny, some of them were downright annoying, but they each had this very developed personality trait. Some of the ones that I remember the most, whether it's because I read them the most or we just used the phrase so often in our house, are Elephant Eats the Profits, No Kicks for Dog, Very Worried Walrus, Nuts to Nightingale, Goose Goose Off, Moody Moose Buttons, that's something we say all the time around here. And this one was also a big one in the house, Me Too Iguana. There were 26 for each letter of the alphabet. So there was Accusing Alligator, Bashful Bear, Clever Camel, Doubtful Dog, Enormous Elephant, and so on. Each of the characters was featured in the opening pages of the book. In the back pages, you had a layout of the town. And that includes, like, every place where they work and where they lived. It's all labeled and everything. It's very intricate, very creative. It just a lot of the stories are irritating. We had a plastic bus box. It was a little bus that had the characters' pictures on it, and there were cards and games that you could play that all had to do with these characters. So this was kind of a big deal. So it's fun to see them again. Let me know if you had Sweet Pickles books, if you read them, if you have any idea what I'm talking about. So that's the first box. Here's box number 2. First one on top is Teddy Bears Go Everywhere. It says that they have 12 collector stickers inside. Yep, no stickers. Oh, we also have Teddy Bears Are Special Friends. So it's kind of a set. Strawberry Shortcake's Cooking Fun. I don't recognize this at all. Make-A-Face Sandwiches. Oh, it's Flower Garden Sandwiches. It's like a recipe book. Hamburger Fun. Very Good Sunday. That's cool. Here we have a book about kittens. Well, it's not really about kittens. Well, no, it does have some text inside. It is educational, but I think when I was younger, I just flipped through and looked at the pictures. Here we have Ed Emberley's great thumbprint drawing book. It shows you step by step how to make all of these animals and people and flowers and things just by using your thumbprint. You know, stick your thumb in some ink, put your thumb down on a piece of paper, and then doodle around it. Doodling's not really my forte, neither is painting, drawing, or watercoloring, or anything like that, but this was the kind of thing that I could do without too much mishap. Here's a book called In a Pumpkin Shell. Doesn't look familiar, although I recognize the style of art. It's by Joan Walsh Angland. It's got alphabet stuff, poems, Rain, Rain, Go Away, okay, Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater. Okay, so it's a nursery rhyme book. Got some nice color illustrations, but also black and white. It alternates. So it starts with A and goes all the way to Z, and every other page is color. So it's a nice book. Here we have a board book, a Critter Sitters book called A Busy Day. I remember reading this. It was very cute. The Story About Ping. Okay, so the story about Ping for me is that this is a book that I had to read out loud in first grade. We were learning how to read in first grade. I kind of already knew how to read, so the teacher said, "Why don't you read it to the class?" I didn't want to, but I did. Miserable experience. So here we have 2 George and Martha books. George and Martha One Fine Day and George and Martha Rise and Shine. These books are so much fun. They're 2 hippos. These are hippos, right? George and Martha are created by James Marshall. They're these 2 hippos who have personality quirks, and they go on these little adventures. These are basically short story books. There's 5 short stories in this one, probably 5 in this one as well, and it's just them doing their thing and living their lives together. It's really fun. Oh, here's another classic staple of every household, probably. The Little Engine That Could. I know that's a favorite of many. Here's The Little House, which is in very good condition. Oh, I love this book! A porcupine named Fluffy. So, Mr. and Mrs. Porcupine have this baby porcupine, and his hair sticks out like that, and so they go through all these names that they consider calling him, and they're all ridiculous. So they settle on Fluffy, which is a ludicrous name for a porcupine, and as he gets older, he starts to realize that he's not Fluffy, and he has to deal with his spikes sticking into everything, and then he meets this rhinoceros, and at first the rhinoceros is laughing at Fluffy because he's named Fluffy, and then he's like, well, what's your name? And then he doesn't want to say. Anyway, they end up becoming best friends, and it's just a really funny and cute story. Here's a pocket for corduroy. I told you it was in here somewhere. So here we have Chicken Soup with Rice. Chicken Soup with Rice by Maurice Sendak, who wrote that book with the monsters, Where the Wild Things Are, which we don't have. Okay, so here's another family favorite, Duncan and Dolores. This book is about this girl who they adopt this cat, and she's so excited. She loves the cat, but the cat wants nothing to do with her. She is loud and excitable, and he just wants to be left alone. He's creeped out by her exuberance, and so she keeps going after him and trying all these things to get him to play with her, and he just keeps running away and hiding, and her older sister is just like, leave him alone, and she's like, but I want to do this with him, and I'm really funny. And the big family catchphrase that came from this book is, Duncan really likes me! So this is a great book, definitely a classic. Up next we have Paddington's pop-up book. I wasn't familiar with Paddington as a kid. It wasn't until I was in my pre-teens that I read the Paddington books. I just knew of his existence from this book, which is a pretty cool little book. Oh, here's another one! Okay. So we have two books by William Steig. One is Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, a classic about this donkey who finds the stone, and then a lion comes along, and the donkey makes this dumb wish to be a rock, so that the lion won't eat him. So the magic pebble turns him into a rock, and then he's just stuck there. And his parents are worried, and they're searching for him, and like all this time goes by, and he's just stuck as a rock, and it's quite depressing. I'm not really sure why this book was so popular in our house, but it's a classic. The other William Steig book is The Amazing Bone. I know exactly why this book was so popular in our house. This book is about this young pig who finds a talking bone that can say these magic words, and it protects her. There's an evil fox. It's kind of like in the Beatrix Potter story, Jemima Puddle Duck. It's kind of the same character. He wants to eat the pig, but he acts all nice with her, and then she gets kidnapped, basically. I hope I'm remembering all of this correctly. This writing has some great vocabulary. The wily fox was not as easily duped as the robbers. He saw no dangerous crocodile. He peered into Pearl's purse where the sound seemed to be coming from and pulled out the bone. "As I live and flourish," he exclaimed, "a talking bone! I've always wanted to own something of this sort." And he put the bone in his pocket where it roared and ranted to no avail. "You must let this beautiful young creature go on living," the bone yelled. "Have you no shame, sir?" The fox laughed. "Why should I be ashamed? I can't help being the way I am. I didn't make the world." The bone commenced to revile the fox. "You coward," it sneered. "You worm! You odoriferous wretch!" Wow. So this is an example of a great picture book, because it's an exciting story, it's a little bit scary, but it's fun, it has a happy ending, but it's not just entertaining for the kids, it's entertaining for the adult reading the book. It had this great vocabulary, and the bone says these magic words, which are basically gibberish. You always wanted my dad to read the book, because he would do just such a great job with reading the words. There was just something about having Dad, who is a very straightforward, no-nonsense person, having him say these nonsensical words like scriboonit, that was just hilarious. So this is another family classic. Here's another book that we got newer when I was an older child, No Dogs Allowed. I did really like this one. Here we have the Miss Nelson books. These are also excellent. Miss Nelson is Missing, Miss Nelson is Back, and Miss Nelson Has a Field Day. I believe that Miss Nelson is Missing is the first in the series. Miss Nelson is the teacher, and her students are awful. They are terribly behaved, and they don't do their work, and she's like, oh, what can I do, what can I do? So one day she doesn't come to class, and they're like, oh, there's no teacher, woohoo! And then this other teacher, the substitute teacher, shows up, and, well, she looks like this. Where am I? I'm your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp. and this substitute Miss Swamp is just absolutely terrifying, and the kids do all the work, do everything they're supposed to. They're so terrified of her that they're like, oh, when's Miss Nelson coming back? We wish Miss Nelson would come back. And then it turns out at the end, spoiler alert, it turns out at the end that Miss Swamp was Miss Nelson, that Miss Nelson decided to dress up as this other character to kind of terrify them so much that when she came back, they would be perfect little angels, and it totally worked. There's probably something unethical about that, but it made for a really good story. We have some of those searching books. Oh, this is what it is. Calm down. We have Where Are They? Look for Laura. Laura is a little alien person. We have Search for Susie. Susie is a dinosaur wearing a sweater. Where am I? We have Search for Santa's Helpers. And we have Where's Cupid? And, they're basically Where's Waldo, except not. But then we also have, I'm so excited to show you this. So, there's this series of books. It says they're the Ruby series. I don't know what that means. These books served kind of a dual purpose. They were telling the story, but they also had a brief educational interlude smack dab in the middle of the story. We have 4 of these books. We have Ducky's Lost Treasure, we have Whitey and Blondie's Adventure, we have Mrs. Squirrel's Lovely Daughters, and we have what is everyone's personal favorite, I would say, How Fatty's Pants Got Lost. How Fatty's Pants Got Lost is about a bear, I think it is. Yes, it's a bear who takes a bath. While he is bathing in the river, this cat comes along named Smarty and steals his clothes, specifically his pants. And then all of a sudden, you turn the page and you get this thing in the middle that is educational. All of a sudden, we're going to have education. Arithmetic covers 4 rules: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. The cardinal points are 4. Look for them on a compass. North, south, east, west. It has nothing to do with the story. It is completely random. The next page, the story continues. It was just such a weird idea to throw that in. The cardinal points are 4! As the parent or the child reading the book, you could skip that page, but it's still there. You can't really ignore it. This book was missing for a while, actually. We had it kicking around in the basement. I think we got it out to show to somebody because we were talking about it, and they were like, How Fatty's Pants Got Lost? What? Because that is one of those phrases that me and my mom will throw around. So it went missing, we thought, but it turned out to be in these boxes of books. So I'm really excited to find it again. Woo! The rest of the books in this box are small. We've got a couple board books. There's this cute one called We Seasons. It takes you through the 4 seasons and has really cute pictures. And then we've got a little board book version of the Velveteen Rabbit. I've got 2 little golden books. One is The Christmas Story and one is Baby's Christmas. I've got 2 copies of Beatrix Potter books. These are softcover copies. I have my own little set of hardcover somewhere, but these were ones that we had kicking around the house. One is The Tale of Peter Rabbit, the other is The Tale of the Flopsy Bunnies. So, actually, these are special edition McDonald's. Bling! We have another little golden book. This is Panda Bear's Paint Box. This was a favorite. I'd say this is a favorite of my mom's. He's painting, and he has to deal with getting the colors mixed up, and then making a mess, and making a mess of himself, and then all of the colors going down the drain. And then the last thing in this box is these books. These are Junior Elf books from Rand McNally. We have Mary Had a Little Lamb, Happy Animals ABC, The Puppy That Found a Home, obviously well loved. It has some very old masking tape on the binding. The Christmas Snowman, ABC book. My First Picture Book of Christmas Carols. 5 Beds for Bitsy. The 3 Bears, I remember this one. The 3 Little Kittens, I also remember this one. And the last one is Mailman Mike. Mailman Mike became another household phrase for us. We call the mailman Mailman Mike, even though that's not his name. He doesn't know, so it's okay. So those are the first 2 boxes of picture books. I'm going to take a break here. I'll come back with the other 2 boxes sometime later, not too much later. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It was really fun to see some of those books again. So let me know if you have any of these books, if you've read any of them, if any of them were your personal favorites. I'd love to know what you think. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!